The smudge on the screen. The final push of a button on the screen finalizes a decision which took minutes to execute, millennia to form, and aeons to build. He was certain the touch of his finger wouldn't suffice this time. He would have to clean the screen of his phone, instead of ignoring it and leaving it up to chance that it might decide upon a whim to clean itself. It never did. He always hoped it might one day, perchance, and only then would it be smudge-free. Or perhaps by divine intervention he might buy a new phone, another portal to see himself and the world through. The irony of this being that all seen through a screen is merely the result of the judgment of one's own view of the aggregate, not the totality of what is presented to the viewer. We therefore choose not an egg muffin upon ordering one. We don't even receive a cappuccino. We do not receive or view these actual things. Instead, we order the expectations and intentionality of what society itself expects and intends for those things to do or to look like. Their function. A vague grouping. The difference between a badly made cappuccino and a latte are minimal, if not non-existent, and are merely down to the whim and behest of a tired barista who neither cares nor knows that their intended expression of a milk-based coffee drink is nothing like the warm breakfast namesake in Italy, only before 11 a.m, and with certain exact measurements of each constituent part: coffee, milk, and froth. Cultural and linguistic frameworks may convey these ideas with varying accuracy, but life is not as easy as that, and digital devices have only made difficulty of choice easier, not harder. Some have chosen a harder life, whilst others have resigned to the fact that hardship is never lost, never won but carried through the generations. We do not struggle, for that is our default state. An egg sandwich may be an egg muffin, and no less or more benign than it appears, but the parts are born of a great struggling stretching back in time. The farmer's ancestors who survived drought, wild chickens surviving in prehistoric Indonesia, or a sales representative from the bakery conglomerate trying to secure a contract, only to have crashed his car that morning and scratched all of the paintwork. But the egg muffin is nothing more than an innocent bystander who never asked to be there. There was no requisition form from person A to person B that an egg muffin has to exist at some point in space and time, which has to be put together at the command of Jake Fidellius. He hated that notion, that life is served to you. No. Life is the serving after being passed the baton of struggle. Life is simply aiming for retirement and escaping culpability. Society didn't demand an egg muffin. No one deigned it so. No one needs an egg muffin, aside from delivery quotas, fiduciary exchange, and the structure of delivery app which would undertake and complete the delivery of his egg muffin and cappuccino. He pondered for 1 second and stood up off of the sofa. He headed to the kitchen, a mere 5 meters away, and looked at the toaster with a mix of guilt and pity. He didn't even dare lower his gaze, for the oven would be sadder still to know what he had pressed on his phone screen. The oven would know it, and it would taunt him, but how far could he regress before madness set in? Well, the oven may lament its loss of function if it had the faculties, but surely an oven would say it had no choice but to exist. It did not ask to exist, it did not fill out a form or buy itself from a retailer, nor did it assemble itself in a factory. The oven would therefore not apologize to the open fire or outdoor oven, these ancient follies no longer used by most modern people. They would laugh in distaste and spite to see an oven lament its lot. He felt sadness wash over him as he considered how many fires and outdoor clay ovens had been lost to the madness of technological advance. A hearth of old entered his mind. Then a distinct sadness for the lost hearths of Anglo-Saxon England in the medieval period. Or they no longer existed. A graveyard of ideas, reference points, and intentionality now no longer existing. It saddened him briefly, until he decided that he ought to have checked the status of his breakfast delivery long ago. How his mind had wandered. The delivery driver was a mere 5 minutes away. A miracle.